Hello! In this tutorial, I will demonstrate how to do shadow studies and sun exposure analysis in Revit using Shadow Colour. Shadow Colour allows you to select a different color for elements shadows in Revit and quickly export images and GIF animations. To learn more and download the Revit add-in, visit our website linked in the description below. The first step is to set up the Revit view for shadow study. We only need to set up one view. I will make sure the view is cropped and the shadows are on. Under the sun settings, I want to ensure the project's location is set up. And I will also add a scale bar to my view. In this example, I have two Revit masses. One is my proposed building, and the second is an approved development. I also have a context model, which is a linked CAD. After setting up the view, I will go to the Adding toolbar and start Shadow Colour. Next, we will link elements from the view to Shadow Colour and assign colors for the shadows. There are two ways to do so. We can pick elements directly from the view by clicking on Add Element. Alternatively, we can select work sets by clicking on Add Work Set. By clicking Add Element, I can pick any Revit massing, Revit links, groups, or any linked CAD or SketchUp. I will click Add Element, go back to my view, and pick the first element. The first element is going to be the top layer, in our case, the city context. The shadows of this layer will be on top. I can rename the layer, and under Color, I can select a color for the shadows element. I can also adjust the opacity. I can keep the shadow configuration as in the view by selecting As View, or turn off the shadow by selecting None. I'll select dark gray. Let's click Add Element again and select the other elements from the view. This study has three layers: the city context, the approved, and the proposed building. I will click Preview Image and see the results. We can immediately see the view with the selected colors and the impact of the new development's shadows. On each layer, we can do a couple of things. We can reorder the elements with the arrows and decide which element's shadows will be on top. Under Action, we can disable or delete the element. Under Color, I can assign a color and adjust the opacity. I can create an outline for the shadows by clicking the Outline checkbox, assigning color and changing the line width. I can assign a color for the overlapping shadows with the layer below. Under Appearance, I can do more advanced graphics. As View, the element will receive the shadows as in Revit. Receive no shadow. The shadows cast on this element will be invisible. Invisible. Hide the element and keep the shadow shown. If we go back to the view, we can see that my proposed building casts shadows covering the park at certain hours. I want to see the additional shadow on the park, give it a different color, and calculate the shadow area. I will create a new site using the property line. I'll select Add Region in Shadow Colour and pick the property line from the view. I will rename the region and change the color of the shadows within the site. When I click Preview Image, I can see the area calculations for each layer, including the overall region area. In the Preferences, I have additional graphic options. Override the line width. Control the shadow intensity. Turn off the area calculation. Show all elements in the view I haven't picked. Bring outlines to the top. Select Topography to receive the shadows. To save the settings and selections, I can go to File and click Save Settings. To open the saved settings, I'll go to File and select Open Settings. When opening saved settings, Shadow Colour will find and link all selected elements or work sets. When opening the saved settings in a different file, or if an element has been removed from the view, I can manually relink elements and regions to the corresponding layer. To export the shadow study images, I'll go to File, Export, And here I can export a single image with the sun setting from the view. Or I can export multiple images by selecting the time interval option. To export, select the date, the time, and the time interval. I can also see the number of frames that will be exported. Under Export Mode, I can choose File or place the images onto a sheet. Let's select File. Under Image Quality, I can select between Low, Medium, High, and Ultra. I can also export an image with all the frames overlaid, so I will leave the superposition image checked. I have the option to export a GIF animation. I will check the shadow area calculation to get an Excel sheet with the area calculation for each time frame. When selecting the export mode to be Sheet, I can select the title block and layout. As you can see, I got all the images here. The name of the files will be the date and the hour. I have the superposition image with overlaid shadows, and also I have the GIF animation. In the Excel file, I can see my region's area calculation of the shadows for each time frame. I will export again. This time, I will select the option to place the images on a sheet. I will select a folder to export the files. Revit will create a new sheet and place the images with the corresponding date and time. In addition to shadow studies, Shadow Colour allows me to quickly analyze sun exposure and explore how my proposal receives direct sunlight. It helps me understand where and when sunlight exposure is most prominent or lacking. First, I will switch to the sun exposure mode. I will set up the Revit view, ensure the shadows are on, and the view is cropped. The view could be a plan view or a 3D view. I can select a specific date and set the time range and interval to run the analysis. On the time increments bar, I can drag the hour increments below the bar, create a new one, or delete them. I can also change the colors. Let's click Preview Image and see the results. To export the sun analysis, I will go to Export and select Sun Exposure. An image file will be exported along with the legend bar. Thanks for watching.